Welcome to Fanfiction Audiobooks. Marvel, start to compete with Tony for property. Chapter 41, Louis's Wake-Up Chi. With everything taken care of, Louis took a look at the Tesseract. As if feeling Louis' sight, Tesseract's kindness became more and more obvious. Well, I'll figure it out someday. Louis stretched his waist. He had already touched enough things today. Leave the rest to tomorrow. Early the next morning, Louis was still sleeping, and Ethan was banging on the door frantically. Mr. Louis, it's bad, Fuzzy's armor and transformer are gone. Mr. Louis. Ethan yelled and knocked on the door. Louis, lying on the bed, had a thought, and in the next second he passed through the space barrier. I see, I took it. Louis said sleepily. Ethan was so frightened that the hairs all over his body stood on end, and he jumped back a few steps. Louis's sudden appearance made people hard to guard against. This is too scary. Mr. Louis? When did you come out? Ethan touched his heart. He was almost scared to death just now. Come out early in the morning, don't yell, let me sleep quietly. Louis closed his eyes, ready to open the door to go back, and... Vase? Can't open the door? Only then did Louis realize that he had locked the door behind him. A space barrier appeared in front of him, and Louis walked in. Ethan felt that he must have not woken up. He must be crazy. Mr. Louis! Ethan shouted. Ethan, if you keep talking nonsense, get the hell out of here. Louis got up angrily and cursed loudly. The sound came from inside the room. Ethan breathed a sigh of relief, as long as Mr. Louis is still there. Shit! Is that the ability that humans should have just now? It's too scary. No, nothing that happened to Mr. Louis could be called horror. Those are gifts from God. Faithful believers, Ethan thought so. Louis didn't expect that his space travel could remind Ethan so much. Louis experimented last night, and the range of space travel is only 1 kilometer. Compared with Loki opening the door of space, teleporting 1,000,000 troops is much weaker. It's all because Louis' body can't carry the power of many space gems, so there is such a situation. Not long after Louis lay down, the damn phone rang. Louis pressed reject without even thinking about it. No one can wake themselves up during their own sleep-in hours. But after 5 seconds of silence, the phone rang again. Louis was so angry that he picked up the phone and threw it out of the window. Triggerwing's headquarters. Fury looked at the phone that had been left unanswered for a long time, and then remembered that his previous call had been rejected. His face became more and more gloomy. A black face was almost a black hole now, and anyone could see Fury's rage. Everyone was doing things with their tails tucked away, worried that they would be caught by Fury accidentally. Director Nick Fury, what's wrong? Phil Coulson asked. As a partner who has worked together for many years, Phil Coulson is one of the few who dare to talk to Fury at this time. Mom, fuck, this Louis actually dared to hang up on my phone, and now he doesn't answer my phone at all. Fury's standard swearing, anger burst out in an instant. Could it be that Louis took Tesseract and then breached the contract? Phil Coulson speculated maliciously. No one has dared to promise that S.H.I.E.L.D. will not do anything after that. Let's go find Louis. Fury was really angry this time. Well said. When it comes to Tesseract. When I have something to look for you, you play and disappear for me. Still not answering the phone? Do you really think that the one who owes the debt is the uncle? S.H.I.E.L.D. tells you, it's impossible. Fury and Phil Coulson are armed and ready to trouble Louis. Call Natasha Romanoff and Barton, let them hang at a distance, and rescue us immediately if we have an accident. Fury put 2 hands in protection. If Louis does use the armor, he and Phil Coulson should be able to last for a while. The two came to Tony's mansion again. When I rang the doorbell, I was restricted by the blacklist once. Mary Falk, damn Louis, we haven't been lifted from the blacklist yet. Fury almost passed out from anger. Have you ever treated your boss like this? Block the boss? Louis didn't know, he somehow took the blame for Tony. The two of them didn't think about breaking in. Tony's mansion was heavily guarded. Countless weapons could immediately beat the criminals who broke in without leaving ashes. Fury and Cole said they could only shout Louis's name at the top of their voices. Louis, Tony, and who? Louis's assistant, is there anyone here to open the door? It has to be said that Fury, who has been shouting Merfolk for a long time, also shouts with the same loud voice. Hawkeye and Black Widow, who were hanging from a distance, looked at director Nick Fury, who couldn't even get through the door, with a dazed expression. This feud is a bit big. Ethan, who was watering the flowers in the garden, heard the voice and opened the door for Fury and Phil Coulson. Where's Louis? Where's Louis? How dare he not answer my phone? Fury asked immediately. Mr. Louis is still sleeping. If you want to find Mr. Louis, please help me bring his mobile phone. I found it in the garden. Ethan handed Louis' mobile phone to Fury. Fury couldn't unlock it but could see his own missed call ID on it. A wave of anger rushed to my heart. This Louis is simply lawless and lawless. Fury rushed to Louis' room imposingly, just about to knock on the door. At the entrance of Louis, the self-protection device designed by Louis was activated immediately, aiming at Fury and Phil Coulson. This is designed to prevent anyone other than Tony Kaizen from entering his room. Fury and Phil Coulson didn't dare move. Tick. Chapter 42, The First Mission, Asking for Flowers, Evaluation Tickets. Phil Coulson, are you okay? Fury didn't dare to move, didn't even dare to look back at his old buddy. God knows what the identification of these weapons relies on. Fury, I'm fine, but my right leg is a little sore. I think my leg is numb now. Phil Coulson said, holding back his numb right leg. Why on earth did we come here? This place is too scary, Louis is really a dangerous guy. Fury regretted a little. In their current situation, even if Hawkeye and Black Widow come, they are helpless. No one dared to act rashly. Or let's call for help. Phil Coulson said. Impossible, do you want me to call for help, the dignified S.H.I.E.L.D. director? This is too embarrassing. Fury verbally refused. 3 minutes later. Help, someone help us? Merfolk, help! Fury yelled loudly. Fury, I think you can stop swearing when you yell for help. I'm going to say, Mommy Fok, you must not be cowardly in terms of momentum, help. Boom. The door in front of Fury and Phil Coulson slams open. Louis rubbed his messy hair and looked sleepily at the two people at his door. The moment Louis came out, all the weapon defenses here were withdrawn. Good morning, Louis said lightly. Then I went to brush my teeth and take a shower, leaving Fury and Phil Coulson slumped on the ground in a daze. Morning, good morning, Fury replied in a timely manner. Mr. Louis, Phil Coulson wanted to say something more, but Louis just ignored them. The two looked at each other in blank dismay. When Louis was brushing his teeth and washing his teeth, he was stimulated by the cold water, and then he vaguely remembered that when he came out, there seemed to be two people at the door. Go back and have a look, Fury and Phil Coulson. That's okay, let them wait first. Liu Yishun brushed his teeth, washed his face, and took a shower before walking out refreshed. Director Nick Fury, it's hard for us to meet once, and we don't need to give such a big gift as soon as we come up. Fury could only lie on the ground because of the numbness in his legs. It looked like he was saluting Louis. Hearing what Louis said, Fury dared not speak out, and could only curse silently in his heart, damn Fok. After a while, the three sat on the sofa. Phil Coulson took out Louis' cell phone and returned it to Louis. Mr. Louis, this is your mobile phone. Mr. Ethan said he found it in the garden. I just said that I didn't see the phone when I got up in the morning. It must be because someone was making too much noise while I was sleeping, so I threw the phone away. Thank you, Louis said gratefully. Fury's face darkened even more. He shouldn't have come to Louis today, this bastard is too much. I don't know why Director Nick Fury came to see me, Louis asked with a smile. Basically Fury only finds himself when S.H.I.E.L.D. has a mission to perform. Louis is also wondering, he has not waited for the task for so long. Hearing that Louis was talking about business, Fury's face softened a little, and he was almost dizzy by Louis' anger, forgetting the main purpose of coming today. Mr. Louis, according to the deal between us, when there is an important task, you can't refuse, and now there is such a task. Tell me the story. One of our targets, Dr. Bruce Banner, is being pursued by the military. You may not know that we have always had disagreements with the military. The military wants to obtain the power of Dr. Banner, and we also want to obtain the power of Dr. Banner. So, you want me to bring Dr. Banner back? No, we want you to invite another person. He is the one who perfectly controls that power. As for Dr. Banner, if you have the chance, you can save him too. Fury said it nonchalantly. Obviously Dr. Banner was also one of the targets, but because he couldn't control it, Fury positioned him as a candidate. Louis sneered, after all, Banner was just an uncontrollable force in Fury's eyes. After all these years at S.H.I.E.L.D., Fury's aloofness seems to be the key to his success. I agree to this mission, please send me the information, Louis said with a sneer. Dr. Banner was originally the key point that Louis was going to find. It's just that he didn't expect Fury to be so good, so he took the task of Dr. Banner to himself. But it's good, lest Louis appear next to Dr. Banner and be misunderstood by SHIELD. Hearing that Louis agreed, Fury was also relieved. He was ready to face the option of Louis refused. But looking at it now, Louis doesn't seem to have such a hard time talking, although getting angry is indeed a very excessive habit. Oh, by the way, since it's your first mission, I'll arrange an assistant by your side, she's a great beauty, Fury said again. Louis' eyes became indifferent for an instant, and he stared at Fury firmly. The moment Fury was caught by such eyes, it was like pulling out a pistol to defend himself. Louis' eyes were terrified. Seeing the nervousness of the two, Louis suddenly laughed, and the original indifference disappeared. Let's say it earlier, since she is a beauty, she definitely can't let her down. Louis showed his playboy side. Has that unique pursuit of beauty. Fury and Phil Coulson were also laughing, and Louis' surprise surprised them both. But Louis resumed his cold voice again, and said softly yet threateningly. If she interferes with me, even if it's a beauty, I won't show mercy. Director Nick Fury had better make it clear to the beauty in advance. Fury and Phil Coulson walked out of the gate of the mansion, both of them panting heavily at the same time. Louis' aura oppressed them so much that they couldn't breathe. His back was already drenched in cold sweat. Phil Coulson, do you think I was right or wrong to put Natasha Romanoff next to Louis? Fury began to doubt the correctness of his decision. Louis is an even more volatile factor than Dr. Banner. Chapter 43, The First Contact with Black Widow. Louis stood on the balcony on the second floor, watching Fury and Phil Coulson leave. The power of space can cover a range of 1 kilometer, and a military vehicle is parked on a distant mountain road. Hawkeye, and Black Widow. Louis saw all this clearly. Fury arranged people around him for nothing more than to monitor him. As for helping? Hope it doesn't help. Ethan saw Louis, who had gotten up on the second floor in the garden, and shouted, Mr. Louis, breakfast is ready. Okay, thank you, I'll be down in a while. Louis responded. Louis didn't look away until he saw Phil Coulson and Fury get into the car and leave, disappearing within a kilometer range. The kitchen still smells of coconut-flavored toast. Since Ethan moved in, the smell of cheeseburgers has disappeared a lot in the house. Where's Tony? Louis asked. Ever since he announced that he is Iron Man, Louis's life has changed. Nightlife is almost entirely dominated by dance parties. Mr. Tony is going to deal with Obadiah's equity legacy today, Ethan explained. It sounds troublesome. Louis smiled happily. Dealing with these legacy issues is no easy task. In contrast, it is relatively easy to develop and manufacture Kamen Rider armor. I may have to leave for a while in a few days. Louis said suddenly. He needed to explain something to Ethan. Where are you going? Is it dangerous? Ethan asked. After all, Louis took Fuzzies away. You must know that the ability displayed by Fuzzies is the most powerful. Ethan was a little surprised, what kind of enemy Louis would face. Relax, it's just a common invitation to work, there will be no problem. Louis said with a smile. When are you leaving? Ethan asked. It depends on my mood. Louis said casually. After all, Fury hasn't given himself specific information yet. Louis doesn't know what's going on with Banner right now. Among the high-speed black cars, Hawkeye drove the car and Black Widow sat in the passenger seat. The seat belt makes Black Widow's figure prominent and uneven. Natasha Romanoff, there may be something that needs to trouble you. Fury pondered for a moment, and finally decided that Black Widow was the best person to spy on Louis. As the most excellent agent of S.H.I.E.L.D, she is also a great beauty. When facing a playboy like Louis, he often has an advantage. Moreover, the most important point is that Black Widow is absolutely heartfelt to S.H.I.E.L.D, which makes Fury feel relieved to hand over the surveillance to Black Widow. What's the matter? Black Widow didn't expect that he would come to a mission suddenly. I thought I could take a good vacation for a while. I assigned Louis to carry out the mission, and your mission is to assist and monitor. You have no mission conflicts, but you'd better stop some of Louis' impulsive behavior. He has some uncontrollability, that is, uncontrollable thinking, which is between a genius and a madman. Fury had difficulty expressing the character of Louis, and finally chose genius and madman. All geniuses are lunatics. I heard that he is still a playboy. Black Widow thought of the introduction of Louis in the materials. No, that's not entirely accurate, he's a playboy, but you can't just think of him as a playboy, it's dangerous, I hope you can be careful. Fury corrected Black Widow's contempt. Louis brought a great sense of crisis to Fury, very mysterious and uncontrollable. I will pay attention, so do I need to contact this playboy recently? Black Widow asked. It would be better to have a contact with Louis before that, and it will be much more convenient to work together in the future. I don't suggest you do this. If you have a chance, you can meet him. I'm looking forward to it. Black Widow licked his alluring red lips. In her many years as an agent, she has come into contact with many people. A playboy somewhere between a genius and a madman, this is the first one, and she's interested in it. Never be interested in a man, that way you'll be infatuated with him. Louis looked at Black Widow dressed as a burger delivery boy, even the yellow overalls could not hide her charm. I see a desire for prey in your eyes. Louis chuckled. He had recognized Black Widow's identity a long time ago, and it seemed that this was the assistant Fury had arranged for him. Now this is an advance contact? Are the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D working so hard now? Sorry, sir, I'm just a hamburger delivery man. Is this the cheeseburger you ordered? Black Widow was surprised when he heard what Louis said, but he still pretended to be calm and said, I don't like cheeseburgers recently, if you are willing to stay and chat with me, I can think about it. Louis' right hand naturally wrapped around Black Widow's neck, pulling her closer to him. Feeling the charm exuded by the man in front of him, even Black Widow felt it was unstoppable. She suppressed the impulse in her heart, pushed Louis away, and said in a somewhat flustered but cautious way, Sorry, sir, I'm just a hamburger delivery person, please don't make it difficult for me. Hearing this, Louis withdrew his hand, and there was still a unique and alluring fragrance on the fingertips. Is it difficult? Louis leaned under Black Widow's earlobe, lowered his voice, and said in a deep voice, I thought you would stay with me? What a pity. Sir, I'm really just a hamburger delivery guy. I still have work to do, so I'm leaving first. Black Widow couldn't bear the unique charm exuded by Louis, so he ran away. Louis looked at the back of Black Widow leaving, and the corners of his mouth slightly curled up. Among other things, Black Widow is indeed a stunner. Looking forward to our next meeting. Louis, where's the cheeseburger I ordered? Tony's voice came from the second floor. Louis froze for a moment, he was so busy testing Black Widow just now, he forgot to take Tony's cheeseburger. Tony, don't eat cheeseburgers all the time. Look at your stomach. Mark III is going to complain about your weight. Louis never showed mercy when facing Tony with his poisonous tongue. Chapter 44, Anticipation of Decade. In the end, helpless Tony had a breakfast with toast in his mouth. I heard from Ethan, you will be on a mission in a few days. Tony asked. It was Ethan who mentioned it by chance, and Tony only knew about it. Tony was a little angry. If Ethan hadn't told himself, then Louis would never have said this to himself. Yet, you can't do nothing if you take something from someone else. I planned to tell you before leaving, but I didn't expect Ethan to be so talkative. Louis nodded, he had no intention of keeping Tony from carrying out his mission. However, during this period of time, Tony was busy day and night, so it was better not to disturb him. Don't ask me when, I'm not sure when I'm going to leave. Louis guessed what Tony wanted to ask, and simply answered in advance. Tony didn't press the question, just said, be careful. Louis looked at Tony with strange eyes, finally sighed, and said softly, Tony, you are the one who should pay attention to safety. If you go on like this day after day, your kidneys won't be able to bear it. Then Louis dodged the toast that Tony threw at him, and left the living room laughing. Leaving Tony alone to meditate, it seems that he must be more restrained recently. Basement. After Fuzzies was created, Louis's next target was not other armors of the 555 series. It is the Kamen Rider armor called Decade. Ethan couldn't see anything special about this armor, at least it didn't look handsome at first glance. And in Louis's painting vision, the design is pink. Mr. Louis, why did you choose pink? It looks a bit. Ethan finally couldn't help complaining about the color of Decade's armor. How many times have I said, it's brand red, not pink? Louis explained again. But discussing colors with a physics professor is a really stupid thing to do. Mr. Louis, are you going to build Decade for the next set of knight armor? In fact, it will be easier to build the 555 series. Ethan asked. The remaining knight armor of the 555 series, Ethan, you can already complete it independently. As for the Decade, it is quite special. Louis looked at the virtual modeled Decade. The card design of the logo represented the power of other knight armor. This is Louis' purpose. But in order to perfectly match Decade's ability to cross space barriers, all the materials used to make Decade need the power of space gems to infiltrate and infiltrate. This will take a long time, and Louis still has no way to break Tesseract and take out the space gem. This prolongs the time. Is there any record of what happens to the metals impregnated with the power of the Tesseract? Everything has been recorded. There have been changes in the internal structure. The distance between atoms has shrunk and become closer, but the mass has become lighter instead. Ethan reported on the changes in these metals. Louis nodded, these changes were foreseeable, and it was one of the reasons why Louis wanted to build Decade armor. While Louis and Ethan were discussing, Louis' cell phone rang. It's Phil Coulson calling. Phil Coulson, what's the matter? Louis asked. Mr. Louis, Dr. Banner's message has been sent to your mailbox, please check it. Phil Coulson glanced at Fury beside him, and then said to Lewis. "Where is Director Nick Fury? I thought he would call me himself." Louis asked. "Director Nick Fury, he has other things to do, so he asked me to call you." Phil Coulson looked at Fury, who was staring at him, and immediately lied. The truth is, Fury went back to Trickerv headquarters, pissed off, and vowed never to call Louis again. "Leave that to Phil Coulson." "Well, thank you for your hard work. I will speed up the execution of the task. By the way, I have already pulled you out of my blacklist, and you can enter and exit by ringing the doorbell," Louis specially reminded. As soon as Phil Coulson heard this, he knew something was wrong, and when he turned his head, he knew that Fury's expression management had failed. A black face will explode like a volcano in a second. "Louis, I will never step into your house in the future." Fury's furious voice disappeared on the other end of the phone. Louis hangs up the phone contentedly after teasing Fury. "Dude, do you really think I didn't know you were next to Phil Coulson?" Louis opened the mailbox, and an encrypted email appeared, only giving Louis 30 seconds to read it. But it was enough for Louis. It contained Dr. Banner's personal information and his current location. Now Dr. Banner is still facing the pursuit of General Ross, hiding everywhere. However, Dr. Banner is not Louis' main target. Seeing his goals and tasks, Louis just wanted to say that Fury's ambitions are really big enough. "It seems that my vacation will end soon." Louis closed the email and said lazily. "Are you leaving?" Ethan asked. "No, I'm going to leave something for Tony before leaving." Louis glanced at Tesseract. The arc reactor should also be renewed. Of course, the power emitted by Tesseract can dissolve palladium poisoning. Tony ran here twice in 3 days, and the palladium element in his body has never been a problem. But Louis couldn't keep the Tesseract in the basement forever. Chapter 45 I am looking for General Ross. Crafting a new type of arc reactor isn't too difficult. Especially after Louis himself controls the power of space, the special elements in Tesseract are also within the scope of Louis' calling. This is the arc reactor. Ethan was a little curious when he saw the finished product made by Louis. It looked different, but Ethan couldn't tell what was different. To be precise, the most perfect arc reactor does not use the palladium element, but uses the unknown element in Tesseract. Louis looked at the arc reactor and explained. He has no need for arc reactor now. After the body absorbed the power of the Tesseract, Louis was originally an energy source, and it was still more than enough to support the battle of the armor. Seeing the confusion in Ethan's eyes, Louis shook his head. "Anyway, just give this to Tony for me, and let him take it out when he encounters problems," Louis urged. "Mr. Louis, are you ready to go now? I don't know how far things have progressed over there. I need to go and see. One more thing, I will give you a vacation and go out to play more, this is my order." Louis looked at Ethan with a smile, and after seeing Ethan reluctantly agreed, he let Ethan go. Tony was not at home, Louis and Ethan left the house after a few words. With a thought, a space barrier appeared in front of him. "Step forward." The next second appeared next to a black car. Louis tapped on the car window gently, showing a charming smile. When Black Widow saw the face of Louis, who was fascinated by thousands of girls, by the car window, he showed a trace of panic. This kind of defenseless approach is terrifying. "Sir, what's the matter?" Black Widow pretended not to know Louis, and his eyebrows were full of spring, which was enough to arouse people's most primitive desires. If someone really thinks they can eat her, don't think about it, you will become a corpse. "Aren't you waiting for me, Natasha Romanoff? Or calling you Black Widow?" Louis opened the car door skillfully, and sat in Black Widow's arms very skillfully. Skilled enough to be like dating a mistress. Black Widow took over his role smoothly, and the jade hands painted with red nail polish drew a few circles on Louis' face. Both of them are veterans in this field, confronting each other, neither will let the other. Mr. Lewis, you know I'm Black Widow, and you dare to sit in my arms. Black Widow's lips came close to Lewis' ears. The voice is like a whisper, and it tickles like a cat's paw. This is revenge. The first confrontation, she fled. The second time, but came prepared. Lewis' body tensed, and he lay down on his own, and moved to the co-pilot's seat. Playboy. Seriously. What are you talking about? I just want you to give up your seat. The co-pilot is mine. Lewis pretended to be serious and said that he was not necessarily the opponent of Black Widow when it comes to morality. This woman has her own unique strength in dealing with men, especially men with healthy bodies. Black Widow put away his frivolous smile, and looked at Lewis with a calm face. He licked his lips. This playboy between a genius and a lunatic does not seem to be as scary as the rumors say. At least, she's interested. Black Widow started the car and drove away. In the telescope, the car turned into a small dot of black, driving away on the winding mountain road. Confirm that the target person left without carrying any items. A hoarse voice said slowly. Confirm the situation in the villa. Since the Tesseract is not in the Tricurved Wing headquarters, return it to our hands. A voice rang out. The moment Lewis left the villa, some guys who were interested in Tesseract all popped up. 3 hours later, the plane landed. Lewis took off the blindfold, squinted his eyes, felt the soft touch around him, and squeezed a few more times with his hands without hesitation. Is this the place? Where did Dr. Banner finally appear? Lewis asked. Black Widow pushed Lewis' restless hand away and said, It's here that General Ross of the military is searching for Dr. Banner. During the last firefight, Dr. Banner ran away after transforming. The whole city is on alert now. Black Widow introduced the current situation to Lewis. According to the following estimates, Dr. Banner may not last long before being found by General Ross. What do you think we should do now? Lewis asked, his tone full of indifference. You are the executor, I'm just an assistant. Black Widow rolled his eyes. Lewis' thoughts are really hard to fathom. Let's go find General Ross. Lewis held Black Widow in his arms, with a somewhat unrestrained appearance. At least 2 people are talented and beautiful, and they have attracted countless heads along the way. Are you crazy? People from the military and S.H.I.E.L.D. can't deal with it. Black Widow whispered, with a warning tone. I'm afraid you don't know the content of the mission yet. Lewis' nose was almost buried between Black Widow's neck, and his tone was slightly mocking. Fury asked me to find General Ross. Chapter 46. How about, try? Seeing Black Widow's reaction, Lewis knew that she didn't know the real mission goal this time. It was always General Ross that S.H.I.E.L.D. wanted to invite. Because General Ross, or should now be called Red King or Red Titan, would be more appropriate. During his pursuit of Dr. Banner, General Ross transformed himself into a Red Titan using gamma rays. Unlike Dr. Banner's Green Titan, the Red Titan has its own sanity and thinking. Transform without losing your wits. This is the best superhero for SHIELD. Fury is always looking for a dependable, manageable superhero. Green Titan is too unstable. Black Widow's eyes flickered and stayed on Lewis' face for a while, finally confirming that Lewis was telling the truth. If you want to know if what I said is true, don't bother, as long as you ask, I will tell you. Lewis once again showed his verbal offensive to flirt with girls. However, now we are facing Black Widow. Are you sure you're telling the truth? If you wear the mask for too long, you'll forget who you are. I'm suddenly not so anxious to find General Ross now, why don't we find a hotel and have a good rest? Lewis invited. Extremely happy. Black Widow also smiled. The two came to a love hotel filled with pink. 2 people, 1 room. Lewis showed a seductive smile to the girl at the front desk. Okay, sir, do you need any service? I can give you a 20% discount. The girl at the front desk cast a wink and said softly. No, I brought my friends over. Louis held up Black Widow's hand. The face of the girl at the front desk changed. When she saw Black Widow's face, she immediately felt that everything around her was overshadowed. His tone became frustrated, and he handed the room card to Louis, and said, 5-star room, $1,500. It's really ruthless. Louis swiped his card and whispered in Black Widow's ear helplessly. If you stop unleashing your damn charm, you can save a lot of unnecessary mission funds. Black Widow said grumpily. Louis didn't answer. The power of space within a kilometer locked two men in black. The military leather boots showed the identities of these two men. Okay, the two of you have already left, Louis said. Black Widow pushed Louis away naturally, checked the room again, and then closed the curtains, then whispered, how did you find out that someone was following you? The high technology of the Stark industry. Louis pretended to be profound. After getting off the plane, Louis felt that the two men at the airport were following him, and he never landed within a kilometer. Even followed to this hotel. That's how Louis and Black Widow got intimate before. Outside the hotel, a man in black showed his identity after asking, and checked the hotel's check-in records. It's confirmed, it's Louis Stark from Stark Industries, a famous playboy, and the one next to him should be his mistress. Okay, confirm your identity. We are currently at a critical moment in the arrest operation, so we can't be careless. The two men in black left, preparing to report the incident to General Ross. Into the night. I think you're trying to seduce. Louis looked at Black Widow with admiring eyes, his eyes were cold, without the slightest desire. But I don't see the slightest desire in your eyes. Does the playboy in Legendary have to rely on constantly changing lovers to cover up his inhumane shortcomings? Black Widow sat on Louis' lap and said. Why don't you try? Try it and try it. Snapped. Louis knocked Black Widow unconscious with a hand knife. He took a deep breath, facing such a stunner, it was really hard to extricate himself. Sorry, there are still important things to do today, try it yourself. Louis said helplessly. After covering Black Widow with a quilt, Louis opened the space barrier and stepped out. The moment Louis left, Black Widow, who was supposed to be knocked out, opened his eyes. As a strictly trained agent, Haguafei is quite proficient in this trick of pretending to be stunned. But the moment Louis showed his space ability just now, Black Widow almost couldn't control his emotions. Looking at the place where Louis disappeared, some doubts appeared in Black Widow's eyes. Louis, how many things are you hiding from everyone? Temporary Command Center. The military has surrounded the city, and Dr. Banner must never escape again. The only thing to watch out for are organizations that are also interested in Dr. Banner. General Ross looked at the reports submitted by his subordinates, flipping through them casually. Hey, someone from Stark Industries? Playboy? Hee. General Ross didn't care, the news was endless recently, but no matter what, it was impossible to stop him from capturing Bruce Banner. If necessary, Bruce Banner must be captured even if his identity as a Red Titan is exposed. General Ross's eyes showed a hint of cruelty. The power displayed by the Green Titan is so charming. No one will refuse that kind of power. Boom. Boom. There was a knock on the door. Come in. Pat, clack. The trampling sound of high-quality leather shoes should not appear here. General Ross instinctively pulled out his pistol, but faster than his pistol was a hand caught on the safety catch. If you are soldiers who want to call you, then don't think about it, I let them sleep for a while. Who are you? General Ross asked, calming down. Let me introduce myself, my name is Louis Stark, the playboy you just dismissed. Chapter 47 Fuzzy's Pointer. General Ross snorted coldly. It seems that everyone underestimated you. I really didn't expect that in addition to Tony Stark in Stark Industry, even Louis Stark, who always looks like a playboy, has such ability? Tell me, you didn't come to me to kill me, did you? General Ross was neither humble nor overbearing in the tone, although a little shocked. But there was no panic at all. It's really urgent, turned into a Red Titan, and General Ross is right. Kill you? How could I kill you, the Red Titan with its super self-healing ability? It's hard for me to kill it now. Lewis shook his head. The ultimate combat power of Red Titan is 100 tons, far exceeding Faiz's basic data. Even if General Ross became a Red Titan not long ago, he would be a draw at best. If you want to kill Ross, you must limit his super self-healing ability. This is why Lewis values this evolutionary ability the most. General Ross' pupil shrunk. He didn't expect that he would be discovered by someone when he became a Red Titan. Only those who conducted the experiment knew about this matter, not even their own daughter. General Ross immediately became murderous, his body swelled rapidly, and the military uniform on his body exploded instantly. A red beast was released. Red Titan, also known as the Red King. It follows the same evolutionary path as Dr. Banner's Green Titan, but it is a more stable evolution without losing sanity. The arm as thick and thin as Lewis's thigh crushed the pistol, and swept towards Lewis vigorously. Lewis put his arms in front of him in time, but was still thrown backwards by the huge force. Bang bang bang! Lewis was knocked into the air all the way, and a human shape was embedded on the wall. Hey! It didn't turn into a pile of blood mist. General Ross looked curiously at the gap in the wall. Under such an attack, normal people would basically crush their bones. But Lewis didn't, not even a trace of blood. General Ross raised his vigilance. It really wasn't easy for Lewis to come here alone. Cough cough cough. Lewis coughed heavily, the blow just now almost dislodged his internal organs. But Lewis still chose to carry it down with his own body. However, with the protection of the power of space, Lewis was not injured. This also allowed Lewis to see the power of this evolutionary route. This is just a Red Titan, what if it is a Green Titan? Lewis licked his lips, showing a rare greedy smile. Among other things, with such power, he had to decide for himself. It's just the first time we met, and you're going to kill him. General Ross really doesn't know how to treat guests. Lewis stood up straight, his eyes were cold and cold. I've never had kindness towards anyone with malice. General Ross grinned cruelly. He ran towards Lewis. With every run, the ground is fractured. It's a terrifying power, so I won't be polite. Faiz's belt emerged from Lewis' waist, and a corresponding transformation phone appeared in his hand. This is purely caused by Lewis' party in the original drama. Even without these, Lewis can transform anytime and anywhere. Henshin. The belt immediately recognized Lewis' identity, and Faiz, the main theme of Red, appeared from the space, covering Lewis' whole body. Lewis shook his knuckles, facing the menacing Red Titan without any fear. Huge amounts of impact and a poised Faiz slammed together. The shockwave generated by two huge forces almost knocked down the whole house. Pity those soldiers who were knocked unconscious by Lewis. I don't know how many can survive the aftermath of such a battle. Faiz slowly moved backwards as he was hit by the Red Titan's force. The two were wrestling, but it was clear that Faiz was weaker than the Red Titan. But Lewis also slowly stabilized his figure, stepped on the ground with his feet, and resisted the power of the Red Titan with the help of resistance. Take advantage of the situation. Over the shoulder fall. The 3-meter-high Red Titan was just lifted up by Lewis and thrown out. Hey, what a terrifying power! Lewis took a breath. His tone was full of excitement. The stronger he was, the more interested he was in this power. Although a bit embarrassed, the Red Titan was unscathed. Even if there is a small wound, it will recover in an instant. Strange armor. I heard that Stark Industries has recently started researching armor. There is indeed something. General Ross glanced at Faiz, Red's keynote, shark skin-like shell. But even if that power is not as good as his own, it's not much worse. This is a tricky foe. But it also confirmed that General Ross must kill Lewis. Again. General Ross yelled angrily. The aura on his body was even stronger, and he grabbed a stone and threw it at Lewis. Boom! Lewis crushed it with one punch, but the Red Titan figure in front of him disappeared. A huge amounts of shadows fell from the sky, trying to smash Louis into pieces. Die! General Ross snapped. But Lewis' reaction was even faster, the space froze in an instant, and the Red Titan's movements were slightly hindered. But enough was enough for Louis. A roll, dodging the Red Titan's attack. Boom! There are huge amounts of crashing sounds behind, and countless splashes of earth and rock. Dust was everywhere, and the Red Titan rushed out of it, endlessly trying to kill Lewis here. The fact that he is a Red Titan cannot let anyone know. Lewis looked indifferently at the Red Titan who was charging again, and said indifferently. Fuddy's pointer. Chapter 48, Crimson Electric Drill. It fell with Lewis' voice. In the void, a metal accessory appeared and fell into Lewis' hands. Although General Ross didn't know what it was, he had a bad premonition in his heart. Rush forward, wanting to snatch. Lewis moved even more quickly, avoiding the Red Titan's advance with a sideways move. Click! The Fuddy's pointer is installed on the leg, and it makes a hissing sound of electric current. Lewis moved his legs, and a steady stream of strength gathered in his legs. The Red Titan rushed a long distance before stopping the car. Turning around is a super long distance jump, pounced towards Lewis. If it's a beautiful woman throwing herself into my arms, I can still think about it. As for you, go away. Lewis sneered. Loaded with Fuddy's pointer's right leg, he kicked at the rushing Red Titan. Before General Ross could react, he was kicked away by Lewis. Fuddy's is loaded with Fuddy's pointer's leg strength, enough to suppress the Red Titan at this stage. The huge body of the Red Titan was kicked against the wall of the opposite house. Smashed a huge amounts of potholes. Lewis looked at his masterpiece with satisfaction, and this is how a gentleman takes revenge, all day long. You suffered a loss 3 minutes ago, and I will ask you to pay it back now. General Ross was kicked dizzy, but Lewis didn't show any mercy. But the damage. Fuck, this physical body is ridiculously strong. Lewis scolded. I thought that such an attack would cause the Red Titan to be injured and bleed, but it seems that the effect is not very great. Feeling the space power in his body, Lewis simply poured it into Fuddy's energy channel. This doubled Fuddy's stats again. General Ross felt a strong threat from Fuddy's. How can this be? The powerful power I pursued, there is actually something that can make me feel dangerous? General Ross growled, not reconciled. His strength is invincible. He's going to crush Louis and the damn armor. Oh, never repent. Lewis said with a cold face, all his strength was concentrated on his right leg. Lewis jumped high, like a blood-red demon under the moonlight. The crimson electric drill locked on the Red Titan's chest. General Ross was feeling bad and wanted to run away, please this red drill-like thing on his chest. But the space has been locked, and at this moment, the Red Titan has nowhere to escape. Lewis fell from the sky, and the speed of the crimson electric drill increased instantly. Fuddy's passed through the crimson electric drill, and also penetrated the Red Titan's body. The ultra-high drilling speed of the crimson electric drill made the Red Titan feel that his entire body was about to be torn apart. Roar! The Red Titan let out a heart-piercing roar. Fuddy's lands and real men never look back at the explosion. Boom! The crimson drill burst suddenly, and the flames engulfed the Red Titan's body. Fuddy's first battle, a complete victory. Louis stood up and undid Fuddy's transformation. Boom! 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 In the firelight behind him, the sound of a heartbeat followed. Louis' complexion changed, and he turned his head immediately. I saw General Ross who had passed out and lifted the Red Titan. Louis also heaved a sigh of relief. Thanks to the Titan evolution route, such vitality is simply terrifying. Louis, stop! Black Widow guessed the location of Louis, and immediately followed after Louis left. Huge amounts of explosions can be heard from afar. Along the way, all the soldiers passed out in a coma. Black Widow made it all the way, and then saw Faiza's night kick from the sky, through the Red Titan. Even Black Widow didn't expect that this Red Titan was actually General Ross. This is their target person this time. Black Widow is worried that Louis will be on top, and kills General Ross. Stand up and stop immediately. The target person is a little unconvinced. I will practice with him. Louis smiled kindly, looking harmless to humans and animals. Black Widow had an expression of I believe you a ghost. I went forward to check General Ross's vital signs, and it couldn't be better. Sure enough, the Titan constitution is a meat shield, and the ability to recover blood is almost full. There was too much commotion here, and there were not a few military soldiers in the city. Louis and Black Widow quietly evacuated the scene with General Ross, leaving a mess. Emmy Blankis was the first to arrive at the scene. He was searching the city for signs of Banner at the time of the incident. It turned out that General Ross was the first to be attacked here. Damn it, a bunch of trash. Emmy Blankis cursed angrily when he saw a group of unconscious soldiers. The scene of the battle, the horrific battle traces, and the wreckage of the explosion all showed the brutality of the battle. It must be the Green Titan, its revenge, its targeting. I don't know whether General Ross is alive or dead. Emmy Blankis immediately threw all the blame on Banner. In the eyes of Emmy Blankis, only Banner can complete such an attack. Everyone, search the entire city for General Ross. Emmy Blankis immediately issued an order. Betty rushed to the scene. She was imprisoned by General Ross before and managed to escape. Seeing the scene in front of her, she thought that the military had fought Banner again. What did you do to Banner? Betty glared at Emmy Blankis. Banner, Banner? Betty, the only thing on your mind is Banner, that green demon, who attacked General Ross. General Ross is now dead, and you still care about a murderer. Emmy Blanche looked at Betty indifferently. He had had enough of this stupid woman. No, it's impossible. How could Banner attack Dad? Betty stumbled to the ground. Although she had a bad relationship with her father, she never wanted anything to happen to him. But the scene in front of him, such destructive power, no one can do it except the transformed Banner. Betty sat on the ground in a daze. She couldn't accept it. Come on, take Miss Betty back and watch carefully, don't let her run out again. Emmy Blanche gave the order. General Ross is not here, he is the top executive. Chapter 49 Dissatisfied, let's practice again? After General Ross's transformation, his clothes were completely torn, and none of them survived. Louis could only take a piece of clothing from a roadside store and put it on him, and dropped a few $100s by the way. At this time, you will know how awesome the Green Titan shorts are. This is the existence of infinite gems in the Marvel world. General Ross, who has recovered to a normal body, is still repairing his body's cells at a super speed. In just 10 minutes, Louis felt that the internal organs in General Ross's body and hands had been repaired. The ups and downs of the heart gradually stabilized. Black Widow didn't ask Louis why he didn't use a space barrier, even though he had one. Just pretend you don't know. The two returned to the hotel with General Ross. Louis threw General Ross to the ground and didn't bother with him. Anyway, even if it is tied, it is useless. With the constitution of Red Titan, it can be stretched casually. Louis and Black Widow sat on the edge of the bed, both of them were silent. In the end, Black Widow was the first to hold back and asked, "If I don't show up, are you going to kill him?" How could it be? If I could kill him, I would have killed him long ago. With such a constitution, it would take me a while to kill him. Louis shook his head. It never occurred to him to kill the Red Titan. This is his mission goal, even if he wants to kill, it would be better to wait until the mission is completed. Moreover, Red Titan is also a necessary experimental material if one wants to study the evolution of gamma rays. The Red Titan represents stability. Stay sane and strong, but there is little room for improvement. Green Titan represents the uncontrollable. Losing his mind, rage will make him stronger and stronger, and his strength depends on his emotions. Hatred represents chaos. Although it is a failure, it is more like an error in the evolution process, a more extreme existence than the Green Titan. Therefore, Lewis will not let the Red Titan die. He even wants to continue to promote the development of the plot. Red Titans, Green Titans, and Abominations, he wants them all. Black Widow did not speak. Although Lewis said it casually, her heart skipped a beat because of the unintentionally revealed ambition. Lewis would definitely not be as harmless as he appeared on the surface. Whether it's a playboy, a strong man under armor, or a provocative master. Neither one is the real Louis. Black Widow feels that Lewis is more like a king. With the ambition and arrogance of being born to be a king. After a while, General Ross's vital signs are getting stronger and stronger, and his recovery ability is getting stronger and stronger. Ah! General Ross yelled. His memory is still stuck in the last second of facing the Crimson Electric Drill. Out of instinctive defense, his body instantly turned into a Red Titan, with an astonishing momentum. It was also the first time for Black Widow to observe the transformation of General Ross up close. He was a little surprised and curious. General Ross saw the existence of Lewis, and there was hatred in his eyes. This faint soul almost killed himself. Why, not convinced? How about we practice again? Lewis laughed. General Ross didn't respond, he controlled his emotions and calmed down slowly. The body also returned to normal. Snapped. A quilt was thrown on General Ross's body by Lewis, covering the position that should not be exposed. Who are you? General Ross said coldly. Although Lewis let him go, he still couldn't judge the purpose of this man and woman. I'm S.H.I.E.L.D. Agent Natasha Romanoff. This is Black Widow didn't know how to introduce Lewis for a moment. I am a part-time Kamen Rider of SHIELD. Lewis introduced himself generously. Then both Black Widow and General Ross ignored Louis's words. Work to earn a living? Oh, trust me. You are very bad old man. S.H.I.E.L.D.S agent, what's the point of finding me? Although our military and S.H.I.E.L.D have conflicts, they don't interfere with each other. General Ross was also relieved to hear the identities of the two people. Although they don't fight each other, they haven't reached the point of killing a general. Black Widow gestured to Lewis, and only Lewis knew the real purpose of the mission. We would like to invite you to join us, Director Nick Fury to be precise, Lewis said. Ha 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 ha, invite me to join S.H.I.E.L.D? I'm from the military. General Ross looked contemptuous. It was the funniest joke he had heard in a while. Definitely not S.H.I.E.L.D. Lewis narrowed his eyes, and his tone was a little bit bad, warning Ross not to laugh too much. Ross put away his mocking smile, wanting to see what Louis had to say. Director Nick Fury wants to invite to form a new team. Louis said his real mission. New team. General Ross looked puzzled. That's right, a team of superheroes, General Ross. Director Nick Fury wants to invite you to join and form with him. General Ross fell silent. It's not judging the authenticity of Lewis, but just considering the feasibility of this matter. A team of superheroes? This Fury really feels. Such a team. Who is the captain? Who will lead? Who is in charge? General Ross felt that this would be difficult to do when he thought about it. Once a contradiction arises, a group of superheroes will instantly become a group of supervillains. Moreover, he is also a supervillain with explosive destructive power. I reject. General Ross thought for a moment, then gave his own answer. Apparently, he didn't like Fury's plans. Louis didn't show any disappointment. He had guessed General Ross's answer a long time ago. In that case, General Ross is also requested to stay here for one night, and we will send you back tomorrow. Louis' mood didn't fluctuate in the slightest. It was as if General Ross had nothing to do with him whether he agreed or not. Chapter 50 Even Becoming a Monster? General Ross looked at Louis suspiciously. He never thought that Louis would let him go so easily. It's hard to understand. Louis laughed. My task is just to invite you. It's best if I invite you. If I don't invite you, there is no loss. Louis explained. General Ross snorted coldly, without making a clear statement. To him it was all bullshit. It was an invitation, but it was Fury's unilateral coercion. It's just that because he is from the military, Fury can't do too much. General Ross didn't think Fury was a good guy. It's no accident that the guy who scolded Mayor Falk every day was able to sit in the position of S.H.I.E.L.D. director for so long. If he could kidnap himself, he believed Fury would do it without hesitation. Early the next morning, General Ross jumped out of the window and left. Black Widow woke up immediately, went to the window and closed it. Louis on the bed slept like a dead pig, with no intention of waking up. Louis, did you just let him go? He's a Red Titan, did Director Nick Fury really say nothing? Fury? Are you a pig? Are you awake? Black Widow pushed Louis several times, and finally recognized the reality helplessly. Louis put his arms around Black Widow's waist in a daze, and muttered, Don't make trouble, there is no Red Titan, we still have alternatives. What did you say? Black Widow didn't hear the words clearly. But Louis' voice became smaller and smaller, eventually becoming a series of long breaths. The angry Black Widow punched Louis on the back. A smile appeared on the corner of Louis, who seemed to be sleeping. Military garrison. The damaged houses have all been demolished, but there are not many soldiers. All were sent by Emmy Blanche to search for Dr. Banner and General Ross. When the remaining soldiers saw General Ross, it was like seeing a ghost. They have seen the horror of the Green Titan. In their view, no one can escape from the hands of the Green Titan. So, General Ross is basically presumed dead. Now it suddenly appeared, making everyone feel like General Ross has returned from the region. Call me over IMI, just say I'm waiting for him. General Ross ignored the soldiers' fear. He must hurry up and grab the Green Titan now. The intervention of S.H.I.E.L.D. made General Ross feel the pressure. The purpose of that bastard Fury is definitely not as simple as inviting himself. After learning that General Ross had returned, Emmy Blanchis immediately rushed back. Seeing that General Ross was safe and sound, Emmy Blanche immediately knelt on one knee to show his loyalty. It's okay, you're right, if something happens to me, the command of this army is in your hands. General Ross didn't blame him. Emmy Blanchis is a general he admires very much. However, when facing the Green Titan, an excellent general plays very little role. Looking at the loyal Emmy Blanche, General Ross made up his mind and asked. Yumi, do you hate the Green Titan? Hatred. If there was a chance to defeat it, even kill it. Trust me, General, I'll do it without hesitation. Even if it's turning into a monster. Emmy Blanche raised his head, looked at General Ross, his eyes were full of determination. He said in a deep voice, yes, even if it becomes a monster, I will kill it. General Ross took a deep breath and said, then go get ready. In order to catch, even kill the Green Titan. General Ross decided to start his own super soldier plan ahead of schedule, transforming Emmy Blanche without any experiments. General Ross expects that Emmy Blanche will have the ability to turn into a Red Titan like himself. Everything is going according to Louis's vision. Louis came to the military station again. Most of the damage here was done by him. Now the culprit appeared here swaggeringly, with a look of pity on his face. Report to General Ross soon. When he saw Louis' disgusting face, General Ross let the two of them into the new reception room no matter how reluctant he was. What are you going to do here? I won't change my mind. General Ross stood firm. No, no, I'm not here for you, General. Louis laughed. The power of space spread out, and countless people were busy coming and going in the bottom 10 meters below. My purpose is what's going on in the subterranean space. General Ross's heart tightened. Damn it, why does this smiling man seem to know everything? What else do you know? General Ross suppressed his anger, and the form of the Red Titan flashed past. I know what I should know, and I know what I shouldn't. General Ross, don't you invite us to go down and take a look? I'm very interested in this experiment. Louis sat comfortably in his seat, waiting for General Ross's answer. Black Widow was sitting next to Louis. Although she was curious about Louis' behavior, it didn't prevent her from understanding that Louis probably knew some terrible secret about General Ross. General Ross gave Louis a resentful look, turned and walked out of the room. Come with me, but don't forget, this is my territory. Chapter 51 The Last Blood. Definitely. We, S.H.I.E.L.D, respect the rules of others. Louis said very seriously, but there was no seriousness in his tone. General Ross was almost staggered by Louis' words. Considering the actions of you gangsters, how dare you say that you follow the rules? The two followed General Ross to the laboratory below. Emmy Blanche is shirtless, ready for the super soldier experiment. How's the situation? General Ross asked. General, I'm fine. Emmy Blanchis nodded, and his eyes fell on Louis and Black Widow behind General Ross. Who are these two people? Emmy Blanchis asked suspiciously. S.H.I.E.L.D.S agent, you can leave this matter alone, good luck. Yes, Emmy Blanche is willing to serve General Ross for life. Like a fanatic, Emmy Blanche showed his loyalty to General Ross in his eyes. Perhaps only such a loyal dog can become a monster that hates that. General Ross walked out of the laboratory, and looked inside through the glass window of the laboratory. Louis is also on the sidelines with Black Widow. What is this doing? Black Widow asked softly. The experimenters are injecting a blood serum into the body of Emmy Blanchis. The purpose of the human experiment is to build a powerful army. Louis explained. Emmy Blanchis, who had been injected with the serum, cried out in pain. Even an iron-blooded tough guy couldn't resist such heart-piercing pain. He looks distressed. Would such an experiment kill dead man? No, but it doesn't seem to be developing in the expected direction. It seems that our General Ross will be disappointed. Louis said jokingly. Through the power of space, Louis could feel that the cells in Emmy Blanchis' body were constantly being torn apart and then healed again. It is a destructive means of self-destruction and healing. It's just that there's a balance right now. This allowed Emmy Blanchis to survive, but the direction of evolution was definitely not as good as imagined. The ability to heal slowly began to outweigh the power to destroy. But it didn't change like Red Titan or Green Titan. This is a strange thing. In Louis' eyes, the bones of Emmy Blanchis began to grow externally. Although it has not been highlighted yet, the density of the bones is definitely beyond the normal level. And it's still going on. This requires constantly energy absorbing. Emmy Blanchis's body became thinner at a speed visible to the naked eye. These are things only Louis can observe. But in the eyes of General Ross, Emmy Blanchis looked as if the experiment failed, but his life was saved. Humph! General Ross snorted coldly. He didn't expect that Emmy Blanche would fail. Louis looked at Emmy Blanchis lying in the laboratory with great interest. He succeeded. Also failed. Can I go down and have a look at him? Louis expressed his interest in Emmy Blanchis. Anything. General Ross didn't refuse. The performance of Emmy Blanchis disappointed him a bit. He now needs to think about how to capture the Green Titan. Louis walked into the laboratory, and Emmy Blancus had already passed out due to excessive pain. In his body, chaotic and disorderly forces are rushing and stimulating. It is like a source, requiring countless energies to stimulate his growth. Louis is like a rich guy suddenly interested. But he lost his patience in an instant. Shaking his head, he said with some regret, "It's a pity." Black Widow thought that Louis was lamenting the failure of this experiment. But only Louis knew that the blood of the Red Titan and the Abomination had all been collected in his body space. "General Ross, we will leave first. The previous invitation is still valid until we leave the city," Louis said. "I still say that, I refuse." General Ross stood by his decision. Louis showed a sneer, and said lightly, "Who knows?" Leaving the army station, the corners of Louis' mouth suddenly curled up. Within the coverage of the power of space, Louis found an interesting object. "You go back first, I still have something to do." Louis opened the space barrier and stepped forward, leaving Black Widow in place. "Hey, you don't act on your own." Black Widow stomped angrily when he saw Louis disappear. But there is no way. With such a elusive ability, even if he wanted to find Louis, it would be very difficult. Newsstand on the street. A man wearing a baseball cap asked for a newspaper and lowered the brim of his hat. "He is Bruce Banner. You can also call him Green Titan." Definitely, he himself doesn't like this title. He heard the sound of fighting from the military station yesterday, so today he took the risk to see what happened here. Most importantly, his girlfriend, Betty, is still here. "I really hope nothing happened to her." Bruce Banner walked cautiously on the side of the road, and ran into a man who looked like a suit and leather shoes. "Hey, you hit me." "Sorry, I didn't see it. This is my latest dress, do you want to end it with an apology?" "I have no money to pay you. How about kneeling down and apologizing?" The man is aggressive and pampered for a long time, making him look like he can beat 5 Bruce Banners. Bruce Banner gritted his teeth and didn't speak. Just now he almost wanted to burst into anger and turn into a Green Titan. But he forcibly held back. However, now he can only watch this man's fist hit him. Click. Gala. There was a sound of bones being broken, and Bruce Banner, who closed his eyes tightly, saw a nobleman with a friendly smile on his face grabbing the man's wrist. "Bullying people is not a good habit," Louis said indifferently. Turning to look at Bruce Banner, showing a usual smile, "Hi, let's meet, my name is Louis Stark." Chapter 52 I Want to Rule the World. In a roadside coffee shop. Bruce Banner couldn't be more grateful to Louis. "Thank you very much, Mr. Louis." "You are welcome." Louis took a sip of coffee, looked up at Bruce Banner with a smile. "Dr. Bruce Banner." Bruce Banner's mind went blank for a moment. "You, how do you know my name? Did you come to find me specially?" Bruce Banner wanted to leave, but Louis held his shoulder. "Don't be nervous, I'm not with the military," Louis said with a kind smile. "I'm from SHIELD. Definitely, these are not important. What's important is that I can help you and help you solve your problems, such as maintaining your sanity after transforming into that kind of monster. I don't want to be that kind of monster again, never again." Bruce Banner shook his head. He's been trying to keep himself from turning into a Green Titan. For this reason, he went to learn yoga, judo. Just to keep myself calm. You have no way to resist, since that's the case, why don't you try to use that power, I can help you. Louis pressed Bruce Banner on the chair and said softly. You won't understand. The consciousness is blank. After waking up, there are ruins and wreckage around. People are afraid of me, afraid that I will kill them. Bruce Banner lowered his head in disappointment, talking about what happened to him. Then you should trust me even more, believe that I can keep you rational, and I won't harm you. Louis was bewitching Bruce Banner. For Louis, Bruce Banner's character is very suitable to be a younger brother. Definitely, it would be even better if he was so docile after transforming. What do I need to do? First, give me a drop of your blood. Then what? Then just wait for my news. Okay, but how do you get my blood? Bruce Banner hadn't finished speaking when he felt his arm was bitten by a mosquito. But looking at the past, there are no traces. Looking up again, the man who called himself Louis Stark disappeared. This once made Bruce Banner suspect that he was dreaming just now. Was it because he was too nervous during this time? Bruce Banner was going to pay for the coffee. Mr. Lewis has already paid the bill just now, the salesman said. Bruce Banner felt his head froze for 3 seconds. All that just now was not a dream, I really met that person named Louis Stark. Back to the hotel. Louis returned to the room, and the moment he opened the door, a black shadow rushed out, aiming a pistol at Louis' head. You are so weak, you actually left me to move around freely, what did you do? Black Widow had a cold face, and really wanted to pull the trigger and kill the soul of Louis. Hey, take it easy, don't be nervous, it's just some private matter, it has nothing to do with the task, not at all. Louis didn't panic at all. But with their hands raised, it looked like the two of them were playing some kind of special game. Who did you go to meet? You smell like a slum. Black Widow asked Louis, not intending to let go. Bruce Banner. Louis confessed honestly. Black Widow swept his leg and kicked at Louis' waist. But Louis moved more quickly, reacted in time, and counterattacked, pressing Black Widow under him. Caw caw caw. Louis took out Black Widow's pistol in a few clicks and disassembled it into parts. The parts jingled and fell to the ground, making a crisp sound. Tisk tisk tisk, it's better for women to stay away from these dangerous objects, Louis said with a teaser. Let go! Black Widow shouted. The other leg kicked at Louis's head, but was easily caught by Louis. I just chatted with Bruce Banner about some ideals in life, and by the way, I asked him to borrow a little thing. What the hell are you trying to do? Black Widow snapped. Everything Louis has done has gone beyond the scope of the task given by Fury. This made Black Widow have to suspect that Louis has the possibility of betraying Shield. I want. The king is in the world. Louis lowered his voice, and there was a moment of silence in his eyes, seeing everything in the world as ants. Almost froze Black Widow's soul. But immediately, Louis smiled like a spring breeze, dispelling all the bad things in the world. Sunny and innocent. Sorry, I was just kidding you. I just want to study the evolutionary blood of the Green Titan. Will S.H.I.E.L.D. interfere with the research of the members? Louis asked. Won't. Black Widow still had lingering fears about what Louis said just now, the king is in the world. But the smiling, harmless Louis in front of him also looked more real. After getting an affirmative answer, Louis nodded in satisfaction. I'm going to Stark Industries laboratory here to do some research. If you're not interested, you can also go to the military station. I think the final decisive battle is about to begin. Louis kindly reminded. You don't need to tell me, I will do the same. Black Widow looked at the back of Louis leaving, and his heart, which had been raised all the time, finally fell to the ground. Louis, a man, has a mystery beyond everything. At that moment, she even really thought that Louis was a born king. Chapter 53. Sorry, I'm late. Stark Industries. There are many laboratories all over the world. What Louis is now is just one of them. Under the ultramicroscope, the fluctuations of the three kinds of blood can be seen clearly. The abomination has a strong aggressiveness, and it will devour and destroy the blood it touches. However, the madness of the abomination also consumes its own vitality. Banner's blood lacks that madness, but is aggressive. However, as long as you don't mess with it, there will be no problem. The most stable is the blood of General Ross. Zhongzheng is peaceful and powerful. The energy fluctuations of the three kinds of blood are almost the same. If you have to name a high ground, hatred is obviously the most powerful. Louis divided the three kinds of blood into half and mixed them. The enemy was extremely jealous when they met, and the burst of aura forced Louis to use space power to isolate the laboratory. Three homologous forces are fighting, devouring. Even the most peaceful Red Titan blood is in rage. But what's interesting is that the blood of the Red Titan and the abomination is madly attacking the blood of the Green Titan. At the same time, on the ground, General Ross looked at Imi Blanche, who had changed into a loathsome one, with a trace of pity in his eyes. Such insanity, such extreme aggressive tendencies. Yimi Blanchis is undoubtedly a failure. But the only use of the failed product is to fight the Green Titan to the death. Bone spurs grew out of the loathsome back, and the bones of the entire body showed the growth state of an exoskeleton. Every attack can bring a series of blood from the Green Titan. Even if it has a super high-speed recovery ability, it can be recovered in a short time. Black Widow saw such a battle, and started to record it immediately. These two monsters must be recorded in the record. I thought there were only Green Titans, but I didn't expect General Ross to be a Red Titan, and after the experiment, Imi Blanche became an abomination. This is simply a fight between gods. And Louis, who predicted the fairy fight, does not know where he is yet. Black Widow didn't even expect Louis to show up. In such a battle, it would be difficult for Louis to enter the battlefield even if he wore fuzzies. Two monsters of the same origin, even if they fight, they are punching to the flesh. The loathsome bone spur pierced the Green Titan's chest. But the Green Titan who lost his mind directly broke the bones of hatred. Roar! Roar! Both monsters roared. Pain. Not reconciled. Anger. Irritable. Never die. Everyone wants to kill the other. The scene was too brutal, and the streets were completely destroyed. The powerful force is shocking to see. General Ross arranged for support from the sky with aircraft. But seeing such a powerful and uncontrollable abomination, although he followed his initial order, the attacker Green Titan. But the appearance of losing his human mind made General Ross startled. Hate, absolutely cannot stay. It would be fine if it and the Green Titan were destroyed together, otherwise, if you do it yourself, you will destroy both of them. The Green Titan became more and more painful and angry because of the injury he suffered. Power is in the midst of wireless augmentation. In order to observe the battle between the two monsters, Black Widow was relatively close, and suffered the aftermath of the battle immediately. The body was hit by the energy wave of the battle and flew backwards. It was about to fall into a pile of broken reinforced concrete. In the dark, the energy pipes flow red blood energy, and the bright yellow compound eyes are particularly obvious at night. Phase. Louis Stark. General Ross could never dream of forgetting the armor, and the man beneath it. But thinking of the power of the Green Titan and the abomination, General Ross sneered. He admits that Louis is very powerful with the armor on. But facing the Green Titan and the abomination at the same time, even Louis would definitely die. Black Widow had already accepted facing death. But suddenly, the appearance of Fuzzies made her feel that she could still be rescued. Louis! Black Widow yelled. Sorry, there was a small error in the research, am I late? Louis asked. Look towards the center of the battlefield. The abomination and the Green Titan didn't realize their arrival at all, and they were fighting on their own. Or realize it, but the life and death struggle between the two guys will never stop. Louis felt the power flowing in his body, felt the power of Fuzzies almost doubled. I haven't figured out who should be used for the surgery. Since they are all there, let's do it together. Before Louis finished speaking, his body had already reached the center of the battlefield. Without giving the others room to react, Louis was already there. Ha! Ha! Louis shouted. One punch knocked back the Green Titan, and one kick knocked down the abomination. Bang bang bang! The two big guys of 2 or 3 meters were forcibly separated by Lewis. This guy, his strength has become stronger again. General Ross' face became extremely ugly. This is something he didn't expect. Lewis actually became powerful again in a short period of time. Even if he faced the Green Titan and the Abomination at the same time, he still had the strength to spare. No, not right. It's just that the strength has increased, and it's not enough to fight two monsters at the same time. General Ross comforted himself. As he thought, Lewis' strength had increased, but when dealing with the Abomination and the Green Titan, the effect was still mediocre. The two big guys stood up quickly. Locked the enemy on footies. Roaring towards footies. Chapter 54. Next, it's your turn. Black Widow watched nervously as footies faced the attack of two monsters. I chose a relatively far location so as not to trouble Lewis. Louis felt his blood rushing. Irritable. Metamorphosis. Evolution. Lewis didn't even think that such a change would happen to him. Originally, he planned to use gamma rays to irradiate himself, and then cooperate with the analysis of 3 special bloods to complete his evolution. But even Lewis didn't expect that he had completed a special evolutionary journey. Different from the evolutionary route of the Titan form. Lewis originally didn't become a Titan's ability, but the power he displayed was not weak at all. What's more, such a recovery ability actually let him inherit it. Lewis woke up from a coma, and immediately came to the center of the battlefield. The blood energy in the body drives footies perfectly, which is not inferior to the photon blood, and even exceeds the energy of the photon blood. At least the photon blood will not bring Orphe Enoch's powerful recovery ability. Let's use you to test the form. Lewis was full of fighting spirit. At this moment, he felt that his blood was crying for battle. Lewis set his target on the Green Titan. It's not against him, it's just that he doesn't need to fight against the Abomination. The power of hatred consumes his life all the time. This is a wrong evolutionary path. Accelerate. XL form. The armor on Footies' chest was turned upside down, exposing the core matrix on his chest. Because of the surging energy of Lewis' blood on his body, a surrounding rising energy flow was generated. The blood in the energy pipe turned into silver, and the black armor and the silver photon blood pipe formed a strong sense of impact. The rest of his body instantly spread out, creating a small whirlwind. This guy can actually become stronger. General Ross couldn't believe his eyes. But the aura displayed by Lewis was even stronger. General Ross even wondered, if Lewis had used this form in the first place, would he have no ability to resist and would be killed directly? For a moment, General Ross felt that S.H.I.E.L.'s invitation really came slowly with sincerity. Others don't know, but as long as there is Lewis, such a powerful strength is enough to crush the audience. The irrational Green Titan only knows to move forward, anger makes it fearless. Footies exerted his legs, and at this moment, his body reached the speed of Mach level. Such a movement speed cannot be recognized by the human naked eye. The forehead of the cave can only be seen for a moment, and it appears in front of the Green Titan in the next second. Punch! Knock! The Green Titan's huge body was like a child, and was beaten back and forth by Lewis in the sky. No matter where he was beaten, Footies' demonic figure would appear in the next second. Same attack, same speed. The only one who can clearly see this kind of battle is General Ross, who still has the Abomination. People like Black Widow can only hear a series of bang bang bang. The impact is full. The Green Titan couldn't react in the sky, so he was beaten dizzy by punch after punch. Puff. Spit out a tooth. Puff. Another mouthful of blood. Even the mighty one who can restore ability can't handle Lewis's endless output. Click. Arm dislocated. Gala. The bones are broken. With the rise of Lewis' fight, every move is deadly, and they are all going all out. The time far exceeds the 10-second limit of Fuzzy's accelerated form in the original show. But Louis also felt that his heart was under increasing pressure, and the heart was beating faster and faster because of the overload. Final blow! Louis shouted. With a full blow, the Green Titan flew into the sky, almost only a small black dot could be seen. Release! Louis said coldly. It fell back to the ground, smashing the ground into a depression. Hoo! Louis panted, this kind of battle really made him feel a little tired. But the duration of such an accelerated state is enough to prove how powerful the new evolutionary blood is. Hey? Why haven't you come down yet? Louis looked at the sky. In the eyes of everyone, Louis looked at the falling objects in the sky with extreme disdain. A large group of green objects hit the earth in an extremely strange posture. Boom! Among the huge amounts of smoke and dust, the Green Titan was dying. Finally it fell. I can keep my hand, it seems that next time I have to be gentler. Louis said easily. The accelerated form displayed by Fuzzy is too powerful. However, the requirements for one's own physical fitness are also abnormal. Louis felt that his body was very strong, but he couldn't hold on for too long. Everyone heard Louis sigh. There is nothing but fear in my heart. Are you fucking human? This kind of cruel killing is actually called keeping one's hand? And, what the hell do you want next time? General Ross has already included Louis in the category of not being able to be provoked. Louis' strength is too terrifying. Unreasonably strong. The same is true for Black Widow, except that Black Widow saw the strength that Louis showed when he was fighting, and the disdain that he showed inadvertently. It made Black Widow feel that his judgment of Louis was not wrong. In Louis' character, the hidden ambition is extremely huge. Putting away the accelerated form, Fuzzy returned to the normal red state, and the blood energy tube also returned to the red blood. Snapped! Louis snapped his fingers, pointing with one finger at the abomination that had lost its target before. Next, it's your turn. Chapter 55, Destroying Corpse and Destroying Traces. At the moment Fuzzy is no longer in the domineering silver-black state before. But the sense of oppression brought to the hatred is not weak at all. Tread! Tread! Heavy footsteps sounded, and the abomination retreated. In the face of Fuzzy, even the irrational abhorrence backed away, feeling scared. How is this possible? No retreat, no retreat! General Ross' voice trembled. Such a result was not what he wanted to see. It was supposed to be a scene where the abomination and the Green Titan would lose each other. Why is this so? It's all about the armor, it's all about Louis. General Ross was furious, but cold and fearful. Even hating such a monster, did you feel the fear of facing Louis? The power to destroy everything. The abomination took a few steps back, seeing that Fuzzy didn't catch up, he immediately turned around and ran away. Bang bang bang! Huge amounts of power, humming the ground stomping. Let you run for 10 seconds first. Louis said with a smile, starting the countdown to death. 10. 9. 8. The hatred felt the threat from behind, and it didn't decrease because of the distance he ran. On the contrary, it was even more terrifying. Keep running away from that scary creature. This was the only thought left in Hate's mind. Escape from Fuzzy. The bright yellow compound eyes fixed on the direction where the hatred was escaping, and despite the physical exertion, the speed of the hatred reached 100 meters per second. But that wasn't enough for Louis at all. 3. 2. The countdown to death still rings in Hate's ears. 1. Louis whispered devilishly, appearing in the ear of the abomination. Fuzzy's figure also appeared behind the abomination. The opening and closing of the space barrier was completed almost instantly. But in the eyes of everyone, Louis came to the side of the abomination in an instant. End your sinful life! Louis said coldly. Fuzzy completed the installation of Fuzzy's pointer at this moment. Red's blood energy poured into his right leg. Seeing this familiar scene, General Ross turned pale. I was instantly killed by this move, and fell into a coma. The deep red drill locked on the body of the abomination, even the power of the abomination could hardly break through the blockade of space. Roar! The helpless hatred can only growl loudly. Crimson drill! Faiz's body slanted through the abomination's body from the air, destroying the abomination's internal organs. A powerful force exploded in the body of the abomination. In the end, it turned into a capital Phi symbol, engraved in the space. Boom! Boom! A series of explosions were accompanied by the abominable flesh and blood raining down. Slap! Slap! Damn it, it's disgusting and disgusting. Louis's scalp was numb, and he directly opened the space barrier, leaving the range of the blood rain. The eroding and tyrannical hateful flesh and blood fell to the ground, wriggling slowly. The vitality of this thing is too strong. Louis sighed. Whether it's a red titan, a green titan, or an abomination, the most obvious feature is its tenacious vitality. As long as it is not killed all at once, it will be resurrected like Xiaoqiang and continue to fight. It's better to exterminate such a disgusting creature as soon as possible. Louis said to himself. The body emits white light and disarms Faiz, but the next second. G3X, Henshin. Louis let G3X also enjoy the privilege of shouting slogans. After completing the automatic arming of Faiz, Louis also modified the G3X. Although the G3X is not needed for combat, the weapon system of the G3X is very convenient for dealing with funeral affairs. Cerberus is equipped on the Scorpius. Vulcan mode, on. Aiming at the remaining flesh and blood of the abomination, it was a small rocket GX bullet. Boom! The sound of the explosion was accompanied by flames, constantly burning the hateful flesh and blood, and it seemed that one could smell the burnt smell of flesh and blood. Zalazala. After confirming that there was no life, Louis disarmed G3X. In the arena, everyone was silent. Even the sound of breathing was suppressed to the minimum. What's the matter? Don't talk, are you dumb? Louis said with a smile. Thank you Mr. Louis for eliminating monsters for us. General Ross felt like his heart was bleeding when he said this. I wanted to catch the Green Titan, but I didn't expect Louis to be killed directly. You don't need to thank you. Do you want to think about what I said before? Louis is smiling. With a kind face. The tone is gentle, but the language is threatening. General Ross replied immediately, please tell Director Nick Fury, I promise. Fine, then I'll go back and notify Director Nick Fury. Louis nodded in satisfaction. It seems that this General Ross is still very good. It was the first time I did a task, so I successfully completed it. Louis was in a good mood. Louis' figure disappeared in the lingering smoke after the explosion, and Louis also conveniently put away the body of Dr. Banner who had turned into a human. Still breathing, Dr. Banner's injuries had recovered a bit during the short time Louis had dealt with the abomination. Black Widow was already stunned, the recorder in his hand was taken away by Louis, and he suddenly realized it. He wanted to snatch it back, but was dodged by Louis. Give it back to me. Black Widow said, but his tone was obviously a little scared. The power Louis displayed was too powerful and terrifying. If the enemy... Black Widow didn't dare to imagine it, and could only say that luckily Louis was not an enemy. Louis opened the video record, and commented a few words while watching it. No, you're taking too ugly a picture of me, and I'm not handsome at all. Louis complained with some regret. Black Widow's video recording technology is obviously too bad. Do you want to mention to Fury that Black Widow should go for photography training? When I video record myself in the future, I can take a more handsome picture. P.S. These days are quite busy, there was only one chapter yesterday, and I also ate a piece of melon that Fei Lu gave some books that were exposed in advance to update the time. It seems that it has nothing to do with me. Fortunately, Philo will not give me an early update time because I update too little. I regained my energy. Today is the Emperor of the Liver. That's all for now, let's go to the end of the world. Thank you readers for your perseverance. This book is about to go on the shelves, and the update rule is only applicable in the new book period. So, now is a great time for you to ask me to add more. Chapter 56 Louis Stark, Play Money. Black Widow stared at Louis's movements. If he couldn't beat it again and again, he could only rely on his eyes to mark it, for fear that Louis would delete something. But Louis wasn't interested in deleting those records. None of Faiza's strongest form is shown, if anyone believes what's on the tape. Then, get ready to die. Louis checked the video records, but he was just looking at how long he had been in the accelerated state. In the original play, it is 35 seconds to maintain the accelerated state normally, and 10 seconds to enter the accelerated state. However, relying on his evolved physical fitness, Louis persisted in the accelerated state for 23 seconds, and even had some energy left. It seems that by constantly improving his physical fitness, Faiza's accelerated state can be made more durable. Louis really liked the thrill of crushing everything. Louis throws the recorder back to Black Widow. I saw Black Widow carefully stuffing the recorder into the ditch in his chest. Alas, the damned woman is exuding her charms again. When are you going to go back? Louis asked. Since the task has been completed, definitely go back immediately. Black Widow replied. She never thought that Louis would complete the task in such an outrageous and violent way. Seeing General Ross's expression of reluctance and helplessness, Black Widow felt that there would be a lot of trouble in the future. Then I won't go back, I still have something to do. Louis stretched his waist, a little casually. No, you have to go with me, God knows what you're going to do outside. Black Widow had seen through Louis. As long as Louis is left outside, God knows what trouble it will cause. Louis' destructive power. Black Widow felt that he could wipe out a shield. Hey, when I joined S.H.I.E.L.D, Fury never said that he would restrict my actions. Louis said dissatisfied. But now there is. Black Widow did his part. Women are really troublesome. Louis complained dissatisfiedly. At this moment, the widow's breasts are not interesting at all. Seeing that Louis didn't continue to propose to act alone, Black Widow contacted Fury with a communicator. But the explosion-like sound of Fury on the other end was heard immediately. Natasha Romanoff, where's Louis, where the hell is this bastard now? Fury was going crazy right now. If he was not worried that contacting Black Widow in advance would affect the progress of the mission, he would have wanted to scold Louis a long time ago. Louis the bastard. He is by my side now. Black Widow looked at Louis indifferently. Originally, I wondered why Louis was going to act alone. Now it looks like Louis did something to make Fury go crazy again. Louis, you are so weak, you didn't tell me that there will be so many enemies? Did you already know that Hydra is going to attack Tesseract? Fury's heart bleeds at the thought of the casualty report. Louis just told Fury in advance that someone was going to do something to Tesseract and asked Fury to arrange someone to guard it. Fury also sent the elite of S.H.I.E.L.D, but he did not expect to face Hydra. If he had known earlier that he was going to fight Hydra, Fury would have at least doubled the number of people he arranged. As a result, the manpower arranged by Fury was wiped out. A large amount of casualty pension made the already poor S.H.I.E.L.D even worse. Louis sighed, a little helpless. Can he say, it's all for Fury? Even if he said it, Fury wouldn't believe it. But S.H.I.E.L.D can almost change its name to Hydra, let alone double, you are super double. 17 cards, whether to be seconded or to be seconded. Forget it, Louis is a generous person, so let me take the blame. I can just eat Tesseract without anyone noticing. Tesseract wasn't taken away. Louis asked kindly. The Hydra members detonated the bomb in the end, the mansion was completely destroyed, and the Tesseract was probably taken away. Fury said helplessly after venting his anger. Unexpectedly, Tesseract went around and went back to Hydra. God knows what kind of terrible weapons those lunatics will use Tesseract to research. That's good. Louis breathed a sigh of relief, believing that Hydra would love the Tesseract he made. The real Tesseract has long been included in the space by Louis using Tesseract's affinity for himself. As for the one in the basement, it's just a Zib-A product that Louis injected with the power of space. What did you say? Fury wondered for a moment that he had misheard. I said, that's really too bad. Louis laughed, and changed the topic to compensation. Director Nick Fury, should S.H.I.E.L.D. pay compensation for the damage to my home? After all, your own home can't be destroyed for nothing, you have to find someone who loses money. Do I, Louis Stark, seem like the type to trade at a loss? Tesseract, I want it. Money, you also have to pay me. I, Louis Stark, pay money. That seaside house is not expensive, only a few $100 million. Beep beep. On the other end of the communicator, Fury hung up the phone in seconds. Compensation? Just dream, S.H.I.E.L.D. is so poor that he almost has no underwear. Play money? Fuck your sister fuck. Fury felt that he should blacklist Louis. Louis returned the communicator to Black Widow, with a disappointed and sad expression on his face. Today is another sunny day with good news one after another. No, 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 you can't laugh, you have to hold back, you have to look sad. Black Widow looked at Louis' poor acting skills, she really didn't want to take Louis back now. What a troublemaker. Chapter 57 Avengers? Sorry, I decline. Once back in New York, Louis was extremely excited as if he had returned to his home field. After his physical fitness was strengthened, the adaptability of the power of space became stronger. Now Louis, the coverage of the power of space is 10,000 meters. Within 10,000 meters, come and go freely. Where are we going now? Tricurve headquarters. After Louis got off the plane, he was dragged into the car by Black Widow. The driver is Hawkeye. This is really rare, and I am lucky enough to have two future heroes of the Avengers Alliance as companions. However, these indirectly proved that there are basically not many usable people under Fury. It seems that Fury is also very clear that S.H.I.E.L.D. is deeply infiltrated by people. The Tricurve headquarters is located in Washington, D.C. The scale is as luxurious as the Pentagon. Director Nick Fury is waiting for you in the office. Hawkeye said in a deep voice, with no intention of following. What about you? Black Widow asked curiously. There is an urgent mission to go out. Hawkeye said. Black Widow no longer asked, since it is a task, it involves confidentiality. Louis and Black Widow got into the elevator, and when the elevator doors closed, Louis gave Hawkeye a meaningful look. Under the cover of Louis' power of space, Hawkeye came out of the Tricurved wing building. Ding! The sound of the elevator arriving disrupted Louis' thinking. Louis glanced at the elevator floor. 27th floor. Fury waited for Louis' arrival with a grim look on his face. He has held back his anger for a long time, and needs to find someone to vent it to. Louis Fury's voice filled with anger. Fury, my family is gone. How are you going to pay the compensation? I'll charge interest after it's been delayed for a long time. Louis didn't rush, and opened his mouth with a crit. You're dreaming, you lost the Tesseract, and you want me to pay compensation. Fury was furious. Louis is calling for a thief. How could it be that I lost it? It's obvious that you didn't supervise well. Louis put the responsibility completely aside. Mommy fuck, it's obviously your intelligence error. That villa is 563 million. In short, you have to pay full responsibility. The 563 million will be credited to the account first. Can you not mention the money? Are you still short of money in Stark Industries? No matter how small a mosquito is, it's still meat. Have you seen the 563 million yuan? Even if I donate all of it, you have to pay it back. Louis did his part, grasping a handle and never letting go. Fury felt that his head was getting bigger, a good braised egg head, and now it was almost swollen. Louis couldn't let go of this, and even Fury couldn't say anything. But the Tesseract, that thing was a gem, and now it's gone. Black Widow also had a headache when he saw the two people competing with each other. How did director Nick Fury lose his mind after meeting Louis? Sure enough, Louis's ability to irritate people is getting stronger day by day. I think, let's finish the task first, okay? I can go to other things, and then you continue to quarrel. Black Widow said coldly. Couldn't stand Louis arguing with director Nick Fury's kid. After being warned by Black Widow, Fury immediately acted as a qualified expression manager, and a serious aura spread out. How about this mission? Fury looked at Louis. Louis also put away his childish expression and acted businesslike. It has been successfully completed. General Ross has agreed to join, but there was a small accident in the middle. A monster came out to disrupt the situation. I can only solve it. As for Dr. Banner, I'm sorry, in order not to let him interfere with the battle, I seem to be a little heavier. Louis openly admitted his mistake. The face is very sincere, without the slightest falsehood. Fury nodded. Black Widow had explained the general situation in advance on the phone. Watched the battle video submitted by Black Widow. Fury couldn't help but be startled by the combat effectiveness of Louis' armor. This is a powerful force that can crush Green Titans and abominations. Louis, I would like to invite you to join the organization I am going to establish. I will name it Avengers. I wonder if you would like it? Fury asked in a deep voice. He actually thought about this for a long time. But because of Liu Yi's character and the lack of comprehensive information, he was not invited. Just put Louis in S.H.I.E.L.D. first. In Fury's opinion, Tony is a better fit for the Avengers than Louis. At least, Tony is not as mysterious as Louis. The first impression of Louis is mysterious. It looks simple and easy to understand. But after watching it for a long time, you will feel that all the appearances that Louis shows are just the appearances he wants to be seen. Louis glanced at Fury and asked curiously, Avengers? Who are you going to take revenge on? It's just a name. But shouldn't the name have its own meaning? Or did you choose it randomly? I dare not add such a random name. Why do you talk so much nonsense? It's just a sentence to add or not. Louis' mouth broke and Fury's anger was stirred again. Without thinking about it, Louis said firmly, Avengers? Sorry, I refuse. Chapter 58 Welcome to Drive Banner. Louis' answer was unexpected, but it was expected. He never seemed like a man bound by an organization, and he joined S.H.I.E.L.D. simply because he wanted to get Tesseract. If it wasn't for not wanting to turn his face so early, Louis would be ready to retire from S.H.I.E.L.D. now. Hearing Louis' decisive refusal, Fury was silent, and Black Widow was also stunned. If there is nothing else, I will leave first. Tony is still waiting for me to go back to the dinner. Louis' expression was very calm, and he was not at all disturbed by his rejection of the Avengers alliance. Seeing that Fury didn't speak, Louis waved his hand as if to say goodbye. Watching Louis close the door and disappear from sight, Fury slammed his fist on the desk. To show the anger in his heart right now, Black Widow can only sigh. To be honest, Black Widow really doesn't want to be an enemy of Louis these days. The strength shown by Louis is shocking. It was hard for her to imagine the scene after Louis became an enemy. Hope he doesn't become our enemy. Black Widow sighed. He's a smart guy, Fury said in a deep voice. It was very calm on the surface, but no one knew what was going on in Fury's mind. Leaving the tricurved wing building, Louis whistled and walked unceremoniously on the road. Find a public phone booth and use the space barrier. Hawkeye had long since disappeared from Louis' perception, so Louis moved towards the position he expected. Finally, Hawkeye was spotted near Dulles International Airport. When it was confirmed that the destination of the plane Hawkeye boarded was Mexico, Louis' usual smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Louis used the Tesseract to perform a long-distance space jump. Jumped from Washington to New York and back to the Stark building. Tony moved the lab here. Ethan has returned from his travels a long time ago. Although I don't know if Louis did it on purpose, Ethan avoided a crisis. This made Ethan more convinced of Louis. Think Louis is definitely an angel sent by God to save himself. Oh no, Louis, he is God. The Tesseract was taken away. This is the first sentence Tony said when he saw Louis. He was deeply sorry for this. The Tesseract belonged to Louis, but he didn't take good care of it. Tony felt a little uncomfortable because he didn't protect Louis' things. If possible, I will take out the shares of Stark Industries as compensation. Although it may not be possible to return Tesseract. Tony knows the value of Tesseract very well, and it is difficult to exchange it for any amount of money. Seeing that Tony was so honest, Louis was very embarrassed to accept the shares of Stark Industries that Tony gave him. Is this a surprise? Louis looked at the Tesseract lying in the space, and nodded silently. He is really a little clever ghost. Seeing that Louis accepted his compensation, Tony also breathed a sigh of relief. What worries him most is that Louis won't forgive himself. After a hasty meal, Louis rushed to his laboratory. Mr. Tony, I have almost completed the task you gave me. Ethan pointed to the armor modules of the 4 Kamen Rider armors constructed in the virtual space. Although with the help of J.A.R.V.I.S., Ethan's speed still surprised Louis. You know, Fuzz is the armor with the weakest basic data among the 5 Kamen Riders. If the rest of the armor is completed, Louis has a combination for many battles. It's done well, let's start research and development. Louis' eyes were full of raging flames. I can finally own all the armors of a series. Without considering mass production, comics, and stage plays. Mr. Louis, which ones should we build first? Ethan was also very excited. As Ethan, who built the overall model, had a lot of affection for these 4 pieces of armor. Now that it can finally be built, it is naturally impatient. At the same time, Louis said in a cold voice with ambition in his eyes. Could it be too? Ethan wanted to say that he couldn't become a fat man with one bite. But seeing Louis' serious and determined expression, Ethan had no choice but to risk his life to accompany the gentleman. By the way, a new friend will join in a few days. Louis remembered Banner, who was lying in the space and recovering. Although he hasn't woken up yet, Banner's vital signs are getting stronger and stronger. The sun shone into the ward. Banner felt that every cell in his body was greedily absorbing the fresh air from the window. Where am I? Banner looked at his hands, returning to normal. Before losing memory, it was encirclement and suppression, it was battle. Have you failed yourself? Have you been arrested? Banner shook his head. He didn't know anything about what happened after the transformation. This made him a little irritable. It seems that you responded well. After learning that Banner had woken up, Louis immediately rushed over through the space barrier. Are you Mr. Louis? Banner hadn't forgotten the man who knew his identity. You saved me. It's obvious. What do you want me to do? Cooperate with you in researching my transformation. As I said, I will teach you how to use your ability. As for what you are going to do, for the time being, you only need your help in developing my armor. Louis said with a smile. Armor? Banner looked confused. Let me take you to my laboratory and introduce you to your future work partner by the way. Louis took Banner to the laboratory in the Stark building. Ethan had heard that a newcomer was coming today, so he deliberately made himself look less messy. And the moment he saw Banner, Ethan was dumbfounded. "You are, Dr. Bruce Banner. Dr. Ethan, you're actually here." Banner didn't expect to see Ethan here either. Both of them are experts in physics, so it is not surprising that they know each other. Seeing that Ethan was here, Banner's vigilance lowered a bit. "Look at our research, these are the armors we're developing, this one is Kaiza, this one is Delta, and this one." Ethan proudly introduced the provisional research results to Banner. "You came here just to let me join the research." Dr. Banner was used to fleeing, and he was wary of anyone. Lewis is so aimless, Banner is not used to it. "That's all for the time being. How about it? Would you like to stay? In Stark Industries, as long as I'm here, no one can take you away." Lewis smiled and invited. "I'm willing to help you, Mr. Lewis." Banner immediately agreed. He was fed up with life on the run. "Very well, welcome to join, Dr. Banner." Lewis gave Banner a hug. Chapter 59, Armor Tester Green Titan. With the addition of Banner, the laboratory has started a full-scale research and development model, and the daily calculation volume of J.A.R.V.I.S is being carried out in units of megabytes. Every data processing of the armor is calculated by JARVIS. Balance, strength. All three of them started the research and development of the armor with all their might. Tony also began to conduct in-depth research on the Mark series. When facing Hydra's enemies, Tony realized that the Mark III had no advantage in many places. This is unacceptable to him. Especially in the face of Hydra's powerlessness, it made Tony even more wary. Research never stops. The enemies you have to face are very powerful. Tony felt a sense of crisis more and more, and wanted to make the Mark series stronger. And in far southern New Mexico, a hammer that fell from the sky broke the long-term peace of the town. Hawkeye was sent here by Fury and began to guard and inspect. S.H.I.E.L.D. established a temporary research facility here, and began to study and analyze the structure of Mjolnir. After losing the Tesseract, Fury valued the hammer that flew from the sky. Hopefully, you can find a value that is not weaker than Tesseract. Louis has not received any mission instructions from Fury during this time. Thinking about it, Fury is also on guard against Louis' betrayal at any time. However, Louis could not think so much. The development of other Kamen Rider armors in the 555 series is a big problem. Although there is one more Dr. Banner. But in the same way, there is one more person's opinion. Every day in the laboratory, only 3 people can be heard arguing and discussing. "Banner, why is the energy channel designed like this? It's unreasonable, and it will waste a lot of energy." "Ethan, the structure of the legs still needs to be adjusted. If a pointer device is added here, it will destroy the sense of balance." J.A.R.V.I.S, can you recalculate it? "Louis, you can consider movable devices to adjust anytime and anywhere. These are just appetizers." Louis is even considering whether to remake Fuzzy's, but considering that he does not have suitable combat armor at hand, Fuzzy's upgrade needs to be delayed a little bit. Louis set his next target on Mjolnir in southern New Mexico. But according to the plot, it's still very early. Louis had enough time to upgrade his Fuzzies and build other armors of the 555 series. After researching a reasonable and flexible leg pointer, other equipment is built according to this idea. The Kaiza armor entered a high-speed development period, and it took only 3 days to successfully complete the armor. The only bad thing is the installation test. The overall appearance of the armor of the new Kaiza is more comfortable and reasonable than that of Fuzzies. The weight matching and adjustment of each place are precisely calculated by JARVIS. In terms of strength and power, it will definitely not be weaker than the original version, or even stronger. The power that Louis can exert will also become stronger. After the Kaiza armor was completed, Louis immediately chose to upgrade Fuzzies. As Lewis's favorite set of armor, there is an opportunity to upgrade, how could he not take advantage of it? It's just that when Banner saw Fuzz, the memory deep in his heart suddenly emerged. It was this suit of armor that beat him. Banner couldn't control his emotions for a moment. Lewis can only take the Kaiza armor through the space barrier to take away the Green Titan after Banner's transformation. Ethan read the New Testament silently. Louis' ability is simply God. As for what happened, Ethan didn't know. But when Lewis came back, he said excitedly that Kaiza's actual installation test effect is very good, and its power is even stronger than Fui's. As for Dr. Banner, according to Mr. Lewis, it seems that there was a small accident, and Dr. Banner needs to rest in the hospital for a few days. This is dedicating oneself to scientific research. In Ethan's eyes, Banner's figure suddenly became taller. As for Lewis, he said silently, it's really cool to beat Green Titan with Kaiza. Dr. Banner was brought back by Lewis. In addition to helping with research and development, he also had another role as a tester for the new armor. Is there a rougher and thicker offensive tank in this world than the Green Titan? The point is, after the fight, the ontology still doesn't remember. Simply perfect. Banner's miserable second half of his life seemed to be silently finalized under Lewis' abduction. Fuzz easily irritated Banner, and Lewis simply handed it over to Ethan for upgrade. On the other hand, Tony's Mark series has begun to enter the Mark4 test. This time, the Mark4 feels more aggressive, whether it is the angular outer armor or the multi-layered sheet joints. All showed a strong offensive. After Tony was attacked by Hydra this time, the first thing Tony considered was the compatibility of the Mark series. Tony, this suit looks very aggressive. Louis praised. Even he had to admire Tony's sense of design and his sensitivity to armor. Naturally, I will never allow anyone to destroy my villa again. Tony was still brooding. In my heart, I have been with Hydra forever, which is the result of fate. After it's finished, do you want to play a game? My Kaiza is also finished. Lewis was very interested in torturing Tony again. Although the current Mark IV, there is no way to bring Lewis the thrill of defeating a strong enemy. But who said that abuse of vegetables is not happy? I can't help it during this period. Mark IV is still in the testing stage, and I will go to a racing competition after a while. Do you want to see your brother and me? Tony invited. Needless to say, Tony's spare time is definitely more colorful than Lewis's. A car race. Lewis seemed to recall such a plot. Still, Mjolnir awaits Louis, where it matters more. Lewis refused, I have to go out for a while, and there may be no other way. That's a pity. Tony smiled and didn't mention it again. Chapter 60, 555 Series Belts. Oh, by the way, Tony, have you felt any discomfort recently? Lewis looked at Tony. Tony is still using the arc reactor of the palladium element. For convenience, it has been modified into a plug-in reactor. And the palladium element is made into a sheet similar to chocolate file size. Without the tesseract to ablate the palladium poisoning, Tony should be starting to feel unwell by now. Seeing Lewis' expression, Tony touched his chest subconsciously. Tony had only recently discovered about palladium poisoning. But in order not to worry Lewis, Tony kept silent. Unexpectedly, Lewis still saw it. Tony smiled helplessly, but the next moment immediately reflected, looking straight at Tony with his eyes, he said, Louis, you are also using arc reactor, isn't it your body? I'm fine. I've started using the new reactor a long time ago. I remember I asked Ethan to give you a gift, which is a new type of reactor. Don't you know? Gift. Tony thought about it carefully, and said apologetically, I put it together with the gifts from other people, and I haven't had time to open it yet. Louis rolled his eyes, he shouldn't have given Tony the reactor as a gift. Really blind. Hearing Louis' reminder, Tony immediately dug out the gift Tony gave him. This is a reactor similar in shape to a palladium element reactor. But the moment he touched the reactor, Tony felt the palladium in his body begin to fade. Is this an illusion? Tony figured his brain must be overtired and delusional. This is a new element adopted. Tony looked at the elemental synthesis equation displayed by Louis. This is an element that does not exist on the periodic table. When he saw it for the first time, Tony felt that this element could definitely replace palladium. How did you discover this element? It was dug out from Dad's relic notes. Tony, you might be able to look at those things. Louis mercilessly copied the words Fury used to lie to Tony. Fury should never try to trick Tony into the Avengers alliance with words like that again. Tony didn't answer, trying to get him to accept that Howard Stark was a good father in a short time, which was a bit difficult. Louis didn't speak. He knew that it might be difficult for Tony to accept this fact for a while. However, slowly you will understand Howard Stark's good intentions. As for Louis, the so-called cheap daddy is cheap daddy. After Louis finds time gem in the future, it is already very polite not to trouble this cheap daddy. He is worthy of the soul of abandoning his wife and son? Leave Tony to think for himself. Louis and Ethan begin to upgrade FUIs. The 555 series now has a mature technical system. The progress of the other 3 sets of armor is also very fast. Dr. Banner recovered in just 1 day and was discharged from the hospital. Louis feels that Banner's self-recovery ability has improved again, and it seems that the injury can also accelerate the evolution of Banner's constitution. It seems that we can be more ruthless in the future. Everything is for the good of Banner, Louis thought so. Ethan really believed Louis's nonsense that Banner was slightly injured. If it wasn't for the hospital or Stark Industries funded the construction, with Banner's recovery speed, sooner or later he would be dragged out for slicing. When Banner saw Louis, he smiled honestly. This guy really forgot who beat him. But after he transformed, Mr. Louis must have helped him. Thank you, Mr. Louis, Dr. Banner thanked. No matter how thick-skinned Louis was, he was a little embarrassed to face this kind of plot where the victim thanked the perpetrator. Where is it? I will continue to work hard next time. Louis simply drifted away on the road of being inappropriate. Banner went home and accelerated the research and development process. Looking at the remaining 3 pieces of armor that have been developed, Louis nodded in satisfaction. The 555 series has been successfully completed, even the belt and the mobile phone have been modified. Louis integrated the 5 belts and transforming devices together, and each piece of armor was identified with its own logo. As long as you confirm the corresponding logo, you can transform into the corresponding armor. FUIs, Phi. Kaiza, Chi. Delta, Delta. Sigma, Psi. Orga, Omega. Louis stored 5 sets of armor in this series of belts. In a short time, there will be no more research and development work, and I need to go out for a while. Louis said to his 2 employees. Where are you going? Do you need to use armor to fight? Banner asked immediately. It should be used, the opponent will be very strong. Louis nodded. Please be sure to record the combat data of the armor. Banner now pours all his enthusiasm into armor. Here, Banner is living well and living up to his worth in the armor. Louis looked at Ethan. Obviously Ethan had the same attitude. Well, these 2 guys don't care about the safety of the boss, but the armor data. Louis was itchy with anger. Banner, pay attention to controlling your emotions. Louis reminded. If he wasn't there, there seemed to be no guy who could stop the Green Titan Hulk. Tony isn't building anti-Hulk armor for Hulk right now. As for the Mark IV, the Green Titan Hulk may be able to perform a bare-handed dismantling of the Mark IV. Banner nodded. During this time, Banner's mood has been stable. Except for the time when I saw FUIs, at other times, I maintained a normal state. As long as it's not the kind of life that hides and hides, Banner feels that he can stay away from the state after transformation for the rest of his life. Louis wanted to say goodbye to Tony, but Tony's lab said no disturbing. J.A.R.V.I.S. After Tony comes out, tell him for me that I'm going out for a while, the time is uncertain. By the way, tell Tony that you must not believe the words of some corned egghead. Louis was really afraid that Tony would be abducted into the Avengers Alliance by Fury while he was away. Okay, Mr. Louis, J.A.R.V.I.S. will pass it on to Mr. Tony. Louis nodded, opened the space barrier contentedly, and left in a jump. Next stop, New Mexico, a small southern town. End of the chapter. Like and subscribe for more videos like this.